Bear with me for a sec, guys. There we go.
No idea what we're doing.
All right, guys.
Hello, everybody. Whoa.
I just had a choking fit. Thank God it happened with the intro.
Guys, I don't know what happened with our intro. I apologize for that. But, guys, welcome to the Rock and Roll Union Streamcast. We are live here with our boys from Ancient Mariners, Rod and Tim. Thank you so much for hanging with us tonight, guys. Kick-ass show coming up this Saturday night at the Landis Theater.
Ooh, yeah, Landis Theater. Ooh, yeah. Just there last week. It's awesome.
I'm glad it's awesome, Rod. We lost CT because he's on mute.
Yeah.
CT.
Well, you'll know what you're
mute.
Yeah, that's hilarious. We get to do the whole show now.
Right?
So apparently, CT likes to keep pushing buttons.
Yes.
We need the boss to come in. I had a choking fit on the intro. He's on mute. Great start.
I had it playing, and then he went to play it. He's messing my stuff up. I'm supposed to be producing here.
Chris, don't touch
any buttons.
So next to the one to launch the nukes right next to each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
About that, right?
Hey, what's this button do? Oh, we got 30 minutes left.
That's it. Boop, boop, boop.
How about a nice game of thermonuclear war, Professor Falk?
So I bust Rod's chops so bad right now because of a conversation you and I had a while ago, and I didn't say anything.
Oh boy, should I get off now?
I don't know.
I can't hear you. There must be something wrong with my connection.
Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties.
Okay, what did I do now? I mean, everything stopped.
So this podcast is now dissolved into watching CT freak out.
Yep.
And Panda getting mad at
All right, stop pushing buttons. You're unmuted, Chris. You can talk.
This is awesome. I love it. And he's gone. You're left with me, guys. I'm sorry.
I don't know if you remember.
That's right.
Okay, right?
I don't know if you remember, Rod. We were in AC, and you, me, and CT were hanging out in the hotel room, and you asked me about that girl and what I had said then.
What?
I said, I don't know if you remember what I had said about her then when we were in that hotel room hanging out.
What girl?
What girl?
Your ex.
Oh, yeah. What about her?
I don't know if you remember what I said. I was like, I'm not going to say what I said, but I just hope you remember what I said.
I don't remember.
Scandalous. Tim, what's going on?
I mean, they can't leave us in the dark like this.
Tim, what's going on? We need to know.
You can send that to me in a private message.
I will.
I have to say, every time the band gets together,
all right, can you guys hear me now?
Finding out what new drama Rod has with girls. It's very entertaining.
At least I'm consistent.
You're very consistent, yeah.
Yes, I have a consistent type and a consistent bracket with a consistent kind of tattoos.
Yeah, what's your type?
Wait,
you said tattoos.
Let me say the type. It's the type that means it's going to be another story next week.
Exactly.
Is it glasses? Is it hipster? Is it tattoos?
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
the tattoos are a big
I've seen
turn on.
pictures.
It's like a huge turn on.
And yes,
When
we
I
can
see
hear
a girl with
you,
head to toe with tats, I'm like, yep, that's it. Pop at the Challenger, let's go.
Oh
Oh,
my,
that's
I'm covered. I'm covered.
No, I don't-
But I'm married, so you don't have to
yeah,
get in
unfortunately,
trouble.
all the hot cool girls are taken.
So I know you guys have a show coming up this weekend because
We do.
we're supposed to be going. However,
Good. Yeah, it's at the Lannis Theater in Vineland, New Jersey, Saturday night at 8:00. We're sharing a bill with Ultimate Live Evil, which is Desco's Dio
Dio
tribute.
tribute.
Pretty awesome. And we've done a couple nights with them. It's a really great pairing, a lot of fun. We decided to do something a little bit unique with this show. So we're each doing a full album of what we're tribute to. So as an Iron Maiden tribute, we chose to do Live After Death, which is one of the top 5 live metal albums of all time. And so we're doing that beginning to end. And Ultimate Live Evil is doing which one are they doing, Ron?
Cool. Very cool.
Holy Diver?
Holy Diver. That's right. They're doing Holy Diver. Yep, the whole
Yeah.
album.
Oh my God, my son loves that album.
And
Yeah,
we're
I just
excited.
remember because Desco put up a picture of Bob Ross. I was like, that's got to be it.
Yeah, I didn't catch all that.
Yeah, I lost half of it.
No, I have something called. I remember Desco put up a Bob Ross painting the Holy Diver cover.
Oh yeah,
Bob,
yeah,
Bob Ross painting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
that was funny.
Happy little devil horn.
But it's such a great stage. We're super stoked.
And we're gonna have Happy Devil
That's
horns. And it's your own little hell, and you can put it wherever you want in it. It's your hell. You can put Ron Dex in it.
Yo, so let me ask you guys, how long have you guys been together now? You guys have been together like as long as I've been doing what I do.
I guess it's been 4 years, right, Rod?
Well, was it 4 years with me or 3 years with me?
Well, you know what? That's a good point. We only played, I think, 2 or 3 shows without Rod. We had another fella playing bass, and then we were like a year in the woodshed before we came out. So I think probably you're right. 3 years with Rod, but yeah, but I mean, the pandemic really kind of stunted that. We were on such a good roll, and then everything shut down, and so. We're stoked that we got to play in the Sherman Theater up in the Poconos not that long ago, and now we're down here in Landon. I don't know how long the theater gigs to keep rolling, but man, we love it. Yeah, we it's definitely not too big for us, but we're kind of newbies on those kinds of stages, and but it feels right. Can't wait.
Yeah, dude, I gotta say, I mean, I've seen you guys in bars, venues like that. And a lot of the tributes really belong, as far as I feel, in the theaters, in theatrical places where you can add more of a stage presence, more lights, more just more show in general. Are you guys planning on bringing Eddie out with you on Saturday?
Yep. Yeah, we asked him if he would come over the ocean. And he agreed. So I think he's on the bottom of the Atlantic somewhere, swimming over. And he'll be here by Saturday.
Awesome.
Well, tell me, you probably feel better on a stage too with you being classically trained.
Someone's got like a TV on in the background or something, and it's making it hard.
Yeah, it sounds like something going on.
Blame it on Cat.
All right, there we go. So what was the question?
What were you saying, Dave?
I was saying that I feel like you probably are more comfortable on the stage being classically trained as well.
That's a very, very good point. I have been on a lot of traditional proscenium thrust stages. To say hundreds of times, it's not an overstatement. And to have this project making it into that type of a venue, to have, wings and, the whole thing, it absolutely feels like where we're supposed to be. Yeah. I'm at home on it. And the music, I think, is at home on it. It's very dramatic. All of it's meant to be, over the top. And you need to be, I think, to experience it the best, you can't be in the corner of a bar. It doesn't feel right. It's like everybody's excited for you because the music's so much fun. You want to do it, but this venue is where it belongs.
And you know what I love about on the stage? I actually have.
Oh yeah, you have room to move. You said
and Paul are not standing on top of each other. And off the riser while he's there because there's not enough room for both of us.
Well, that's because you're the Jolly Green Giant anyway, as tall as you are.
I guess so.
Funny story. I used to actually avoid getting right next to Rod when we were in the middle of stuff because it would such a discrepancy. And now I absolutely love it. I search for it. I want like let's go, man. Come on.
I got to say the production team at the Landis does a phenomenal job. If you guys have ever been to other shows put on by the Landis, some of the stuff that they do with the screen in the back and some of the lights and did you guys put anything together for that as far as background visuals and things along that line?
Yeah,
there's only one way to find out.
Well, I actually did. Yeah, right. You got to go. But I had talked to their projectionist, and he needed to have a minimum of 1080p definition, and so I sent him a bunch of graphics. And the thing that I'm looking forward to is I also sent him the themes for the songs.
Nice.
So 2 Minutes to Midnight is about nuclear war. Right? So, or the threat of nuclear war. So, things like that. I'm excited to see what their creative team's going to put forward. Because, Rod and I went to see Draw the Line last week, and it was a great show. And as great as that band is, and they really were wonderful. Boy, they were built up by that production team in a significant way.
Because we had Loungefly on, and I was talking to Ira a little bit. And he said, we didn't know what was playing on the background until we got off the stage and saw some videos. And then I saw Land of Oz over there, and I talked to Kevin Mercer, their bass player. And I was like, Kevin, did you have any input to that? And he was like, yeah, they piece it all together. They've had their background stuff forever. So I guess it's a matter of how much you feel like doing for the background as opposed to what the venue throws up there.
Yeah, I think they welcome input. I'm sure they probably get excited when they have something to work with. But that's something that I actually really noticed with Draw the Line. I wasn't really paying attention for Land of Oz, but I was there. We were there together. We didn't know it. But the light shows you typically see. We're so used to seeing 30 par 56s and 30 64s and rain lights and all this stuff, right? And instead of that, they have the different colored lights to set the scenes and all that, but that's a $200,000 projection screen they've got.
And that's just one. How about the sides? Does that include?
Yeah, and the sides. So so much of the visual of that show, they're leaning on that screen. It's unbelievable. I want it everywhere. How do we take it?
Now put it in the car. Drive around watching it.
Say that again, Rod.
We could miniaturize it. We could have it in the car.
Yeah, no, I want to do that. I so want to do that. I want to.
Now, with the Landis, I know you guys are starting to break into a couple more theaters. I know that the next show after the Landis is one that you guys are doing for a show that I'm helping promote at McStew's in Levittown. Just curious as to what the rest of your schedule looks like, and if you have other theaters coming up, and the difference between the kinds of venues that you guys play?
We've got our network of the clubs that we've been playing, and one that's kind of home for us is Bar 13. That's home for a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
excited to have a date back there. We're going to be at Tom and Jerry's again in the fall. That date's to be announced.
Wait a second. What about in May? We got something big.
What do we have?
Xfinity.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You're going to be in Maine?
No, Xfinity Live down at the stadiums.
Oh, like
yeah.
Maine, Philly. I thought you meant like Maine, the state.
Yeah, I
Maine.
thought Maine was state too.
Yeah,
I was like, what? I was like, you're going to be in Maine?
Now, are
he's
you
a
guys
school
playing
teacher.
as part of a sporting event or another concert?
It's called Philly Music Industry Night.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a collection. They'll get a couple thousand people that are like, booking agents and vendors and things like that, venues. And we were invited to play on the main stage for I don't know how long we're going to play, half hour, 45-minute set, something like that. And and we do have somebody interested in representing us now, so that might pop out of that night. I don't know.
is it somebody we may know?
I don't think so. I don't.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay, so cut that one out.
Now, is that event open to the public?
It is. Yeah, it's a Tuesday night. You can find it on our Facebook page and under our events. We're self-booking right now, and every now and then we get something confused because we're trying to keep it all one pile. I guess you guys have never heard of that happen, right?
No,
not at all.
No.
But I think we would certainly love to have somebody represent us at this point. So that's.
I think CT and I may have somebody that might be interested.
All right.
Offline, we'll talk about it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of past maybe guests, Rod was there, and we talked to a band from Italy that the first time I heard them, I was like, they sound like Iron Maiden. And I was like, it's crazy Iron Maiden. And CT immediately messaged me back. He was like, it's so funny that you said this because next week's guests are Iron Maiden tribute band. Yeah. And I was like, it was even like I played it. My husband's a musician. He's in a band. And I played it for him. And he was like, very Iron Maiden influence. And then Rod came on and he was like, yeah. And the lead singer was like, no. And we were like, yeah, you kind of are. Like, even if you don't mean to be, you kind of are.
Subconsciously, there is a lot of different influences.
There's different influences, but that's the one I think just like being a listener and being an outsider that I picked up the most. And
it's so funny when people talk about prog rock and how so many people point to Dream Theater and Dream Theater is really fast to say, but Iron Maiden,
Oh my God, that's the first thing. That's the first thing I said to my husband. I said Dream Theater, like Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold. They're all inspired. Like if they've been quoted on interviews for Iron, like we were influenced by Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
So
I think the thing that's funny that goes back to kind of like what you were saying as far as Rod's band Sartori as opposed to Iron Maiden is, and I'm sure Tim, you can attest to this, what the band's got going on behind the vocalist sometimes is a little different between what the vocalist sees and what the musicians see.
Yep. And Andy had said, he's the songwriter. So
cool.
He's got his thing that he believes, which is awesome. And I don't care as long as everything sounds good. We're influenced by a million different things, even if subconsciously. As long as the song's good, I'm fine.
Yeah, I agree, and I love the fact that he brought up like Mozart and Chopin. Like Tim, are you influenced? even though you're a tribute band, are you influenced by like any like classical music or you have class? You have class.
Tim
You
owns
have
a piano
classical.
store. He's classically trained.
I know
Not
he's.
him.
I know he's classically trained, but if you had to pick one classical artist,
Well, so as an operatic tenor, one of the interesting elements of that sort of study is exploring all the different voices that are out there.
right?
And there's a lot of voices that I've admired over the years, like Nikolai Gedda or Beniamino Gili, or there's some modern guys today that are just outstanding. Lawrence Brownlee, which actually one of my best friends was best friends with him in college. Here's an interesting thing. If you want to have an interesting segue between the classical world and what we're doing,
Yeah.
and we've experienced this just a little bit recently. Where if you're doing an opera and you've got 6 leads, right, and you might share a role. You might, somebody else is doing, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and you're doing the other days, right? And it's kind of plug and play. You know your marks, you know your lines, you know what the scenes mean, and you just switch around, right?
Right.
Bands aren't like that so much, right? Like we develop chemistry. We're a little territorial with our spots and things like that. We've come into an interesting phase of this band where we know certain people who know the material that we do, and if somebody's not available, we can still go. We just take somebody like Alphonse, who's a guitarist and knows all the Maiden rep, and he can come in, he can cover either role. We're going to have somebody else drumming for another gig in June up in at Artie's up Frenchtown, New Jersey. It's an outdoor
Frenchtown. Yeah, I know Artie's in Frenchtown. Yeah,
cool spot, right? Yeah, we're gonna
very cool spot.
Outdoor backstage. We have something going on back there in June. And
Cool.
Anyway, but like Rod, who has his original project, our drummer has an original project. Seeds of Perdition, and he wasn't available that night. But like opera or like classical music, you just grab the guy who knows the rep, put him in.
Yep.
Right. And this is a project now that people want to get involved in like that. So we're excited for that.
That is really cool. So you grab the second seat and put them in the first seat, or the third seat and you put them in the first seat.
I even have a fill-in for me, which is great. Because you know how hard it is to find Dickinsons, right?
Right. I do.
And there's a Maiden tribute down in DC, Niall, and he and I get along great and talked a lot and have offered to fill in if we have a need. So the show must go on, right? That's the thing.
Well,
Now,
you had
speaking
a guy email saying, "Hey, if you need a bass player."
Right.
So,
Now, speaking of kick-ass musicians, and you guys just got a shout out. Rob was showing me earlier from the Iron Maidens.
Yeah.
And that was a really cool. That was a nice thing to do, man. And I think Tim, you kind of got close with that group. You've played some performances, well, at least maybe a song or two here and there with them.
I got to sit in on 2 songs with the Maidens. Yeah, those girls are great. And Courtney got to sit in with us, right, Rod?
Oh my God, Courtney is like so freaking cool, down to earth, cool, funny, shreds, and it was just awesome having a third guitar player up there.
Yeah.
And, one that's as good as her. And it was really nice that she's been supporting us and giving a shout out. So,
yeah. And
nothing good to say about them.
And it makes us feel, validated that she was comfortable doing that with us and then comfortable recommending us to her friends, like, they've got 1.4 million Facebook followers. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's awesome. And you guys, they're wrapping a pair of tickets away at the show Saturday night, right?
That's right. Yep.
And Robert, they're playing 2 months to the date after we are.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're playing May 12th, right?
Yeah, they're May 12th. We're March 12th. Yep, that's right.
Wow. The calendar's kind of weird this year. I've noticed that. Like, certain months are starting on the same day, and like things that you normally don't see happen with the calendar, like March 12th being the same day 2 months later. But as far as new metal is concerned, anybody that you guys are listening to, anybody that you guys like?
Ginger. Love Ginger.
So I'm not listening to new metal right now. I just fell in love with this weird band called Lawrence. And it's a brother sister team, and they're freaking unbelievable. And they're playing at the Stone Pony on this Saturday.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I bought tickets not knowing that it was. I didn't even piece together. I'm like, God damn, I have my own show. Ah, fuck.
Mark, there's a lot going on in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area that night. So
yeah,
man. And one thing that I'm going to do, and the viewers keep bouncing in and out, but we get a lot of viewers on the repeat viewing of this. They kind of go into the YouTube channel and stuff like that. We also have a pair of tickets for you guys for Saturday night. And Tim, you had a kick-ass question, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this open to the first person that responds via either message board on here now or on the YouTube channel in the future.
Am I allowed to answer too?
No Googling.
Google.
I guess, hey, first come, first serve, right? I don't know. But if you're going to answer, come to the gig. Come see our show.
Hell yeah, man.
Right?
Well, duh.
Yeah.
We got 4 people that are coming with us on Friday. On Saturday.
Awesome. Really cool. Great. That's cool.
So
you want the question now?
Yes.
All right. So the question is, before Iron Maiden came out with their self-titled album debut, they had recorded a few tracks on what was inevitably a demo tape. What was the name?
There it is, guys. What was the name of the demo Maiden put out before the initial album?
Yeah. And it became known by this. If they didn't call it, they were just recording. But everybody knows this by this title.
So
good luck.
First person that answers via the message, like I said, you're open, but no Google.
I'm not going to Google.
Right now, everybody's on
but
Wikipedia.
I will wait to give somebody else a chance.
But
pretty obscure one. So
I gotta ask both you guys. I don't think I ever asked you guys this question. Favorite Maiden album or song? What's the music that you guys go to personally to kind of like get ready?
You want to take that first, Rod?
Well, I kind of look at it as 2 eras. You have classic up until Bruce left, and then when Bruce came back. I love Peace of Mind, and many people will be surprised, but I also, for the newer stuff, I love Final Frontier.
Ah, good answer.
I love that record. Awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't really get into it or never even heard about it, but really good.
Wow, there's some great tracks. The Mother of Mercy. If we ever could do that at some point, oh man, I love that song off of Final Frontier. That's great. We were good at
We got 3 hours worth of Maiden already, so
I know, right?
we got a few more to work on.
The second half of the first track, we were going to do that at one point off Final Frontier. What was that called?
Was that the title track?
Yeah, the Final Frontier. That's great. Yeah.
It was like we did Nelson. So we had to work on Greek for a while, and it's like you get to a certain point, we have so much material. Unless you're playing a place like this Throttle, you're not going to use all of it.
So for me, my favorite album I don't, peace of mind is the easy go-to, and Rod said it. So, if you're going to pick a favorite, if it's not one of the Holy Trinity, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, or Number of the Beast, I don't know what to say, right? Like those are the top, right? But Peace of Mind. But like Rod, the new era, there's some stuff that's totally mind-blowing in there. And I'll lean on Brave New World. I mean, for me, if I'm going to get excited, like we've studied all the classic stuff so much that for me, like the joy in that now is performing it, right?
Yeah.
So I get totally charged performing it. Listening to it, I'm too clinical because I'm like always trying to think about how we do it, right? So I've sort of ground that down a little bit. But Brave New World is outstanding. We do Wicker Man, which I love, but I'd love to do a lot more on that album. It's a great album.
That is a great song. It's so good.
The Fallen Angel. Oh,
Yeah, Fallen Angel.
could you imagine that live? Oh my God.
So I got to ask you, and I'm going to leave the pronunciation open to you guys. The new album, or the latest album. I can never really quite pronounce it the right way. How do you say it?
Senjutsu. Isn't that it?
Senjutsu. What do you guys think of the new album? Any favorites off the new tracks?
Woo!
Rod?
I personally love Death of the Celts. That's one of my favorite. One of the longer, more obscure ones. Woo! What a freaking album!
We're gonna do Writing on the Wall at some point. That's the one that everybody was introduced to it. I know some people criticize the album because it gets a little long at spots in certain tracks, and I don't disagree with that. But I think it's neat that Iron Maiden as a band are at this place to where they're willing to just explore and trust and believe in something and move through it. Because I have a feeling that for those people that just want to hear Flight of Icarus rewritten, this is just a different level of musicianship on this latest album. That's gonna, they say the test of time, right? This is gonna take some time before. I mean, there's the obvious tracks that come out and rip your face off right away, right? They have that, but there's some really subtle stuff in there. Like Rod, you said, the Death of the Celts. Like I'm still digesting that one. That's a cool track.
What is that? I hear some kind of squeaking like cartoon voice.
It's cat. It's only when you talk, honey.
What is that?
Rod,
the show is really broken down.
Do you have a mouse in your pocket, Rod?
I'm not that happy yet.
Oh my Lord.
Man, but
you never know.
So Tim, as far as vocals are concerned, are you finding any? I mean, God, it's Dickinson. Of course, you're finding it difficult, but as you get older, I mean, how hard? You know more about the vocal cords than a lot of other people do. You've been around it for so long. You've done it for so long. How does that wear on you as far as age?
I'm lucky so far. So the one realization that I made maybe about a year ago, because I was grinding down at some shows. It's important to listen to Bruce and his vocal technique when he's live, because he's not doing what he was doing when he was recording. And if your goal is to reproduce what he did recording, you're gonna have some problems. But live, he's unbelievable and totally repeatable. It's okay. But the other part of it for me, and this was huge, is I recently got in-ear monitors, and that's changed my whole world. We did for Halloween. We did a Friday and a Saturday show. Friday was down in Delaware somewhere, and then we did Spyglass on Saturday. and I was fine. I could have done a third. In-ear monitors are just saving my life, actually.
I got a set too, and I'm just sitting there. I was like, this is really great money invested.
Yeah.
It helps with the backups. I can hear better. I don't have to blow my voice out. I have
Yep.
to scream.
Yeah,
I can hear the mix of the band no matter where I am on stage. And that depends on the monitor for me.
Yeah, totally agree. So the very first time I put them on, I was obviously not sure how it was going to go, and we were at a rehearsal, and we were improvising a rehearsal space. We were in someone's basement just because it worked out that way, and so we didn't have our normal rehearsal PA, so everybody was too damn loud. They couldn't hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, but I put the in-ears in, and somebody had said, "Wow, I can't really hear you." And I looked at him and said, "I don't care." Like, I hear me great.
Right. Am I the only one hearing this?
I can't. I didn't hear any of that. That was the mouse thing. It sounded like the mouse.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry, Kat, but it's like this high treble thing.
Cat turned into a mouse.
That was kind of cute though when you went okay, and I heard it. That's really funny.
So, one thing I got to ask you, Tim, and it's something that always dawns on me, and I used to ask it in the beginning of me doing the podcast, and it's something that, I mean, I used to sing a lot more than I do now. I'm nowhere near what I ever did before, but how important are vocal warm-ups, vocal cool-downs? There's some people that I've talked to that don't do any warm-ups at all, and that kind of blows my mind. How important is that to you?
Well, for me, it's unbelievably important. I think the kind of material that somebody is doing will dictate how much they need to warm up. But if you're trying to recreate Bruce Dickinson, that guy's a monster, and you need to be ready for it. It's interesting. We talk about the older era and the newer era too. The newer era, he's a much better singer. People look at that older era and they hear the gymnastics, the vocal gymnastics that he could do. Much better singer as he aged. It's changed. So, but I have to, in the singer's world, we talk about the column of air, get all that space up in the back resonance, and get it lined up with your midsection. And I mean, if you don't do that, you'll be dust.
Man, I mean, because I look at singers that have kind of fallen off the wagon, like big singers, and it kind of blows my mind. I don't understand how things like Vince Neil happen. I don't get like how the hangers on are still hanging on.
Yeah.
While I mean, some of the, because it blows my mind. You see the big stadium tour that they're on, sold out everywhere, and then Maiden has been touring nonstop forever, and like there's so much attention given to somebody that's not even singing the proper way.
Bruce was just here for his speaking tour a couple weeks ago, and you can just hear him talk. You could hear that his vocal production is properly lined up. People like Vince Neil, I mean, I can't say with all accuracy, but I'm pretty sure I know what happened to him. He was singing totally on his palate, and then he got way out of shape, and he couldn't keep that up, and it collapsed. It flattens, and if you don't have that air to drive it, you can't sing. So I mean, that's my lucky guess with Vince Neil. But
now, is that the matter of? Is it a matter of keeping the body healthy? As far because there's been a lot of people that talked about exercising and things.
Yeah, it helps so much. It really does. I'm a little out of shape right now. During the pandemic, I got great. I was doing my 10Ks and all that, and slimmed a little bit down, and my singing improved so much. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I have no problem singing, but I'm like, yeah, it'd be better if.
Well, I sure also admit you have to add the chemical.
Add the what?
You have to talk about. You have to add in the concept of a lot of chemicals, a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
Did like 60 years of partying.
But Steven Tyler, right? I mean,
Yeah.
his voice stayed in pretty good shape, and he was kicking the crap out of himself. So there are.
I mean, I look at other singers like Sammy Hagar at his age is like he blows me away. I don't.
Great. Yeah. But again,
Sammy Hagar, David Coverdale still sounds good.
Yeah, people that sing like from their abdomen and stay in relatively good shape, there's no reason to stop. You can keep going.
Now, Rod, as far as musicianship is concerned with you, like, how often are you playing? How often are you rehearsing? How often are you like involved in your instrument?
Every day. I mean, I'm in 2 bands as it is. I'm writing some of my own material. I have another band that I have to audition for. That would be like a side thing. And I'm playing a lot. I'm playing every day. The days that my kid is with his mom, I'm spending definitely a few hours playing. I practice every night. I try and get as much fret time in as possible, work on my technique, try and just better and better, because you never know when a great opportunity is going to come, and you don't want to be sitting around waiting for it. You want to be ready when it hits.
Absolutely.
And you want to put on as good as possible. And I think that's one thing I really like about this band. I'm never going to criticize a bunch of guys that want to get together, go out on Saturday night, play, have fun, and that's it. I always want to say, if I'm going to do that, because I didn't do this for a long time, I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that I'm trying to be as best as possible.
Right.
If you're going to do this, try and be one of the best. When you see a band like the Iron Maidens, or you see Draw the Line, you see some of the other top level tributes. I'm like, why not try and be that level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree 100% with that. One of the things that goes through my mind, and maybe Tim, you could give me some more insight to this because you're more classically trained and you've been around that classical music your whole life. I always I started viewing like tribute bands as, classical music was always later on performed by other artists, performed by other people playing that piano piece or that cello piece. I kind of look at tributes the same way now, where it's just other people keeping that music going. I wanted to see what you guys thought of that as far as that's concerned.
I totally agree with that. I mean, every time I've ever sung an opera, I'm recreating somebody else's musical experience that they made. So yeah, I do agree with that. My dog wants to say hi.
Dog.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, when I think kind of the right point of view for it is the people who come to see it. What's their goal? What do they want? And if they want to go, enjoy Iron Maiden like they did when they were kids, and if they want to hear that music live, then it should be done by somebody who's put a lot of effort into making that a convincing experience.
Karen.
But it's the same in the classical world, right? If one of the groups that I work with is called Vox Amadeus, and we do early 17th century Renaissance music, and we have a 300-year-old cella da gamba that a lady is playing, and there's an instrument called a theorbo, and then the harpsichord. That's what's referred to as continuo. It's the rhythm section, right? The instruments have to be right, or it's not going to sound right. Rod's bass is a Harris, right?
I had a Fender with flats. I said, you know what? I'm not continuing to pick up Steve Harris bass. I had to give up on the bass I loved, but I was like, you know what, this is right tool for the right job.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got the right equipment. I mean, you can go hear other people playing Iron Maiden, and it's a hoot. I mean, everybody loves to give it a try, right? But we go real in depth where our guitars, Paul and Chris, have really toned in their sound so that you're hearing a complementary sound that's very individually defined, right? Which is what you hear with Maiden. You know, Adrian Smith and Dave Murray have distinctive sounds, and that's what we're going for. When we have the chance to have our own sound guy, who's mixing us, then there's some things that person will do to be sure that everybody sounds like a soloist, as opposed to most bands where it's made to be a unified sound that's punching at you. Where Maiden is a little bit more like all these different lines that weave across each other. So each line has to have the opportunity to come out, including the bass. The bass has to be a soloist at times. So that's the kind of thought that we're putting into it, so that when you do hear it, it's as close as we can get.
Gotcha. Kat, you back with us, or you have?
Was having technical
There we
difficulties. I was having technical difficulties. Mark had to come out and rehook up the webcam because apparently one of my cats, there was a jingly ball by the wire and came and smacked it and smacked the webcam right out of the
funny
fucking cats.
They're cats. What do you expect?
Sound like you're chasing a mouse into the microphone.
But it is fixed now.
That's
I am sorry. This is my first NCT. You have to admit, this is my first technical difficulty.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
first.
Not like we didn't have a million of them starting the show tonight. But
I was literally like, Mark, come out here. I lost my camera. I lost my feed. I lost everything. Yeah, and a fight ensued. Husband and wife, like, there's nothing more I can do. I'm like, no, it was fine.
But back to that experience that we were just talking about. Why? And I want to get the opinion of both Tim and Rod. You here is why is there such a focal point on the look? I mean, so many people, when they go out to a tribute could sound like shit, look like the band, and get away with it. Where sometimes it's better to have that sound tight and not have the look so much. What do you guys think as far as that's concerned?
What do I think?
I love this question because I have wondered this.
I think, first of all, if you're a band that does like GNR, like Paradise Rose, you need to look the part. Yeah. People are looking for that because those bands were very visual. And I think also you have the fact that many people who are listening to the music, they're not musicians. So they're not going to notice all the little instances, but they do see the visuals because that's very plain for anybody, no matter whether they're a musician or not. And I think it brings back the nostalgia. I remember when Motley Crue in 1985, when I saw them on the Girls, Girls, Girls tour. So now I'm seeing the band, it looks like the way they did that. And it kind of makes people feel back to that age. They don't feel like they're in their Gen X. I'm hitting 55. What the hell happened? When did this happen?
Right. Tim, what are your views on that?
I think in some situations the look is super important. But for Iron Maiden, we have elements of the look, because there's drama to certain songs and you want to have, that feel. But one of the best tribute bands in the country is Get the Lead Out, Led Zeppelin tribute.
Yes.
Those guys.
Also, on our Philadelphia radio station, they play the Get the Lead Out.
Yeah, they're. Yeah. I think for me, they are my my blueprint you know. And Paul Hammond, who's one of the core members of that, he's actually from Norristown. So, but those guys, they tour and they sell out huge venues. They don't look anything like those guys.
You know what's funny? You brought that up. I remember back in the '80s when you had bands like Crystal Ship or Yasgur's Farm. Like Crystal Ship was a Doors cover in New Jersey in the '80s. They didn't look the part at all.
Yeah, I think the key
came later was, hey, we could do. Let's try and look like.
Yeah, the key, I think, with people like Get the Lad Out, and certainly what we're trying to do, is to honor the music and the feel and the excitement. When you're hearing Iron Maiden's Power Slave, you should be able to lose yourself in the music and just be blown away by the power of the moment, and that's what we're going for. I'm never going to look like Bruce, and you know what? Bruce doesn't look like Paul Di'Anno.
Right.
There's a lot of like when you hear Bruce Dickinson singing Wrathchild, he's doing a cover.
Yep.
So but he sings the hell out of it, and it's amazing, and everybody wants to hear it because he's good. So that's what we're going for.
And man, I gotta say, yeah, some of the elements I've seen you guys put in there, the bomber jacket or the trooper or things along that line that you kind of that are concrete Maiden that when you go see Iron Maiden live, Bruce is coming out in that the red jacket for the trooper, and certain things you can staple to them, Eddie, and I mean other things I agree 100%. It's all about the music and all what it sounds like. And I'm really excited to see you guys Saturday night because I've never seen you guys in that type of an environment before.
And I've never been to the Vineland Theater before, which is where my parents live.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like,
place. I love the fact that they're doing like these retro theaters and kind of doing There we go.
There it is.
Little 666 going on.
Hey, the number of my ex. It's a one number area code in Hamilton, New Jersey.
I have a Slayer 666 shirt, like women's size, and I wear it out, and people give me, they're like, did I just see that? Like, what? Because for my husband's birthday, I bought him a Slayer like whole package. So he got like a T-shirt, a Raining Blood snow globe, signed set list, and the 666.
Oh, that's cool.
Like men's shirt and women's shirt, and like I love it. I absolutely like. You just gave me a little like goosebumpies because it's so cool. Because some people take it so seriously, and other people are just like, like rock and roll. Like,
yeah, that's it. It's just rock and roll.
It's just rock and roll. It's not like we're worshiping the devil. Like,
that's one of the interesting things, like for me, about that particular song, "The Number of the Beast."
Yes.
I mean, what he's singing about is getting the crap scared out of him because he saw something. He's like, and then at the end of it, where the devil kind of takes over, and I have the power, I have the force, all that. That. So it's really like a big warning. Like, hey, like don't F with that stuff because there's something there.
Right. It's kind of the message is lost in the in the imagery.
Six.
Anybody
knows?
I'm like my in-laws come over and they see our Raining Blood snow globe and they're like, they shake it up the first time they came over and they were like, oh, a snow globe, and it was like red snow. They were like, what?
There's
like,
there's
I was like, it's just a band.
There's a very very convincing theory about 666 being in reference to Nero, the Caesar Nero.
Yes, that's actually
he burned Rome down and all that. Yeah, there was
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, there was like a number game that people used to do where they would turn names into numbers, and it was like just kind of something that people did as a pastime.
Yeah,
Kind of
if you add up his 3 names, each one adds up. If you reduce it down, it comes up to 666.
Everybody's name,
No,
regardless.
his specific
Heroes.
name. You can do that with anybody.
His specific guy. I thought
Right,
you were like
and
Every
everybody's name.
letter has a number that goes with it.
And
So
he
you
was
can
the guy
add them
he was
all
the guy that
together.
was-
All three came up. Hey, Ronald Wilson Reagan, 666.
say that again.
So
when
one
Reagan was elected, there was some people thinking that he was the Antichrist. Ronald Wilson Reagan. All have 6 letters.
RR, yeah, 666.
That's
So
all
this
I-
is the last thing that I want to touch base on, guys, because we're running out of time quickly. One of the things that I'm proud to announce, if you guys haven't been keeping up to date on our Facebook page, is we have a show coming together, something that was really spearheaded by Rod and me, and really excited about it, which is the Rock for the Ukraine show that we're putting together. And regardless of what your political ties are, just the kids that are involved in this and the families that are involved and have no say politically, regardless one way or the other. But I think it's going to be a kick-ass time. May 21st, we're going to be rocking the nail in Ardmore, PA with this event, guys. I know you guys have ties to the Ukrainian, to the Ukraine. Rod, you have family, am I right?
Well, I am half Ukrainian. My family, my relatives live on the Slovakia side because Ukrainians live not just in Ukraine,
Yes.
but it's still, it hits me. I have been to Ukraine. I have been to Kyiv. I have been to Moscow. And to see what's going on, I mean, to a person of any Ukrainian descent, this is almost in a form of genocide. These people don't exist as a separate people. Their language doesn't exist. Their culture doesn't exist. And then when you see the brutality, I mean, it's at a point of let's just indiscriminately bomb civilians, and the only way out is if you go to Russia. We're not going to allow you to escape refugee to Europe. You could only go in Russia.
So I like you guys obviously don't know this about me, but I grew up for a few years Czechoslovakian.
Oh.
And then I was told you're not Czechoslovakian anymore, you're Czech. And my uncle was the UN ambassador to Poland during Bring the Wall Down. So like all of this shit that's going on TV is
It's hard. It's hard.
It's I keep it off. I can't watch it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't watch it 24 hours anymore. I just catch up like twice a day.
I have
Yeah.
I have great aunts and uncles that are in the Czech Republic. I have great aunts and uncles that are in Poland, and so it sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks right now.
Not far. They're not far at all. The refugee camps. My family in Eastern Slovakia is only a couple hours drive from the Ukrainian border.
Right. So you're on the Slovak side. My family got moved to the Czech side. It's hard for everybody.
Yep. And,
Sucks.
Well, unfortunately, I got to cut it, guys, because we have another, our second guest has been waiting patiently for us. Rod, Tim, Saturday night, Landis Theater. Really excited to check you guys out, man. And we'll have to get caught up more to date once we get there. So,
all right, thanks
guys.
a lot, Chris.
Thanks for having us on.
Have a great
Sorry for
night.
the technical problems.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, Dad.
I'm choked up. Oh, give me a second.
All right, guys. Our next guest, I'm really happy and excited to introduce the boys from Elderbug. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. Sorry about leaving you on hold so long, but thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Man, so can you give us a little bit of input as far as the creation of the band? How long you guys have been together, those sort of things?
And can we know who is who for our viewers?
Sure. Yeah. Gentlemen?
Drew, guitar.
Yell it.
Drew plays guitar.
I'm Chris. I'm new to the band. I'm the bass player.
And I'm Lucas. I sing and also play guitar. Better than Drew.
Yeah.
Our band started about a year ago. I was working on some solo demos and stuff under a different name, and I was showing them to Drew, who is a friend of mine, and he was always like really cool about the songs I wrote. And one day he was like, "Man, that's cool. Let me play guitar on that." And we were like, "Yeah." So we just started a band.
Awesome.
That's it. I bet that's very short and sweet.
So you guys all pretty much knew each other when you started?
Not at all. We did.
Not at all. He's like, we basically ran into each other on the street and like, let's start a band.
They were in a band. Chris and Drew were in a band back in the day called Killing Mercy, and I was in another band called Make Contact. We played a lot of shows together back in the day. And so we knew each other that way, but the other guys in the band we didn't know. We just happened across them.
And I got to say, as far as Chris goes back a little ways with the Rock and Roll Union and Killing Mercy, man. I remember plugging Killing Mercy 3 years ago. And I think that was up until the point that his lovely lady had their child.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was the end of it, Chris. Was that the end of Killing Mercy once the baby came along?
It was, yeah. It's a little hard to get somebody to watch all the kids so we can both go out.
I hear you. How many kids do you have now?
Killing
Chris?
Mercy was an awesome band, though.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I remember when you guys were around.
Not me. That's Panda.
So how many kids do you have now, Chris?
I have 3.
Wow. Awesome. And how often do you guys play out? What's the scene like there? Can you tell us like where exactly you're located and how's the scene where you are?
Yeah, we're located in Northeast Tennessee. We're based out of Johnson City, like an hour and a half from Knoxville to the right. So we're kind of close to Virginia. We play every like 2 or 3 times a month right now, just kind of waiting while we book a tour. We try to tour and make records. So we play a little bit while we make records and get ready to tour. Scene's not bad. There's a few bands. There's not a whole lot, but the people that like listen to the music are very active. So we always have a crowd. We always have people to play to. We always get to make memories and experiences with these really cool people.
What would you guys describe your music as? Like if you had to tell somebody or compare it to somebody else or something along those lines, how would you describe your music?
It's kind of like if you took, what's a good like newer rock band? Hey, it's like if you took newer rock bands and you made them good.
Have you guys heard of Moon? CT, help me. My mind is blanking. Vanilla, Moon. You're not gonna help me at all here. At the nail. Moonroof. Thank you. Have you guys heard of Moonroof? They were like number 2 on Spotify.
Isn't that the band that
Moontooth?
Yeah, Moontooth.
What's the chance you mean Moontooth?
No, Moonroof.
Moonroof?
Roof.
I don't think so.
I don't know. No.
No?
I guess what we typically classify ourselves as is like hard rock sort of. We get a lot of inspiration from like Dance Gavin Dance, but also like bands like Alexis on Fire. We really like Fall Out Boy a lot. But we also
I listened to a little bit about like, so you kind of fall in between the like Fall Out Boy and the hard rock.
We do, and
like
we
kind of in the middle
in there. I'm personally big fans of bands like Incendiary and like kind of New York hardcore bands, and I try to ruin our songs with as many breakdowns as they'll let me do. So we get a lot of, I think, inspiration from a lot of places. So it's kind of hard to pin down, and not in one of those like goofy ways where bands are like, well, we're kind of trendsetters. What it is,
right.
We have some bubblegum pop songs, and then we've also got songs like that are super heavy and down tuned. So it's all over the place.
So you guys would feel comfortable if say Warped Tour was.
You'd be very comfortable with Warped Tour, yes, sir.
kind
Who
of
wouldn't be?
state champs or knuckle puck or something
Yeah.
like that along those
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, our drummer's a huge fan of Knuckle Puck, and I love State Champs. They're from upstate New York, just like I am. So I got to see them back when they were kind of kids, and it was really cool.
And it's kind of cool because music. I've always found that music that's hard to put a label to is kind of the best music.
Well, I appreciate that. We oftentimes think the opposite. We're always trying our best. So thank you.
So, how much music do you guys have an album out there? What's available out there for people to kind of latch onto from you guys?
Right. So we have an EP that we did a year ago called "The Good Bug Is Dead," and we put out a record last June called "Happy Birthday, Dead Neighbors." We are currently about 65% done with our next record called "Transitions." It should be available in May, I think, maybe June. We're trying to do once a year. Just like 10, 15 songs, really hype it up, get our best songs out there. But we try to, instead of what some bands do, maybe where they put one record out like every 5 years, we want to put out as much music as possible. I feel like in the digital age, you have to, or you'll be forgotten. So we're certainly trying to do that.
Because it's so fast.
4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a. It seems like there's a trend out there as far as releasing singles, and a lot of bands just releasing singles.
Right.
You guys mentioned trying to put out the album, which seems like a lost art form anymore, and it's something that's like I grew up, looking at the leaflets, studying the words, kind of things along those lines, and it seems like that doesn't exist anymore. You guys are more into the full album kind of thing.
Yeah, I think singles are cool, but my kind of philosophy on it is when we do put out singles every now and again, right? Like we put out a few since the album came out. I think 2 or 3 songs. Abandoned Trap House and a song called Devil, which we did a couple of months ago, and we're gonna have a couple for the record.
We actually released Devil on your show.
It's Trap House.
Trap House.
Trap House. Yeah. But the way that I look at it and how I kind of gather my thoughts about it is we can put out a single every 6 months, or we can put out a record. The fans who are like, damn, that's a good song, I wish there was more, are just going to then listen to the rest of the album.
Right.
If we just put out a single, they're going to have nothing to listen to. If they've already maybe gone through our old catalog, or if they're like, well, what do they sound like now? I want more of this new direction. I want this.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides, but like when I hear a single that I absolutely love and there's nothing more, or maybe there's only 2 or 3, I'll just like binge it. I'll listen to it over and over. I'll restart it. I'll restart it. And then when new stuff comes out, I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of like invested.
Right.
So, but then when a whole album comes out, it's like, wow, I really like this song. Let me skip this song. I really like this song. And then I have to go back.
Right.
And end up loving the whole album. So I think there's like 2 mindsets when it comes to that. If that makes sense.
I think the easiest way to fix that is to just make every song so good you don't skip it, and that's what I mean.
Yeah, and I didn't mean skip it. I mean like I already found my favorite songs because they put out singles. They put out 1 or 2, and then bam, full album. Right. So like I'm like,
now see, I'm exactly the opposite, because I find that when I'm listening to something and I go back, I find that one gem on there that wasn't put out that I end up really, really liking. And that is my song, those ones that weren't on the radio. And I don't know why, but that's just how I always feel like.
Right.
Which is why I love the idea of an album, because that just gets me. Like I know some of the bands around here, and they've put out their singles, but then I go back and I'm like, but I like this one better. Come on, guys. And I'm telling them this, and they're like, yeah, okay, I can see why you say that. And I'm like, well, yeah, because that's how, so.
I think that it would be a little different if we were signed to a major label and we were only allowed to put out, so many records or whatever that are paid. But I do all the production for the band, and I don't see any good reason not to put out as much music as we possibly can to people who really want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and God forbid we just like, who are we to sit on 10 songs when like nobody's really listening to 2 of them anyways? Like, we might as well just give everybody everything they have so they have something to latch onto.
And that kind of always deciphers the true fans of any band to just kind of a casual listener.
Right.
I know, like, for example, I'm a big Aerosmith fan, and they did a song called Nobody's Fault, which wasn't a very big, it wasn't a single, it wasn't anything really for the band, but that's like my favorite song from them. And I'm sure you guys each have your own flavor that you bring to the band. What do you guys listen to per se? You brought up a couple bands that you guys listen to, but what brings the influence to Elderbug?
I listen to a little bit of everything, which is like a broad statement. But like here recently, I've been listening to like solely only pop music, and
I'm sorry, what was that?
just mostly like I listen to a
Pop
lot of
music.
yeah. That's but I also listen to a lot of prog. What? The what?
Yeah.
Is anybody a country music fan?
Sort
Like
of.
a cross country or a hardcore country fan?
Hey, there's a band called I'll Get Out, and they're from Nashville. They're kind of like an emo outfit, but there's definitely a lot of country influence in there.
Yes, I love them.
I'll Get Out's a fantastic band. But also I'm a big fan of like Johnny Cash. I like Waylon Jennings. I like
Hell
Luke
yeah.
Bryan. I like all country. I like all music.
I could
That-
find something in any
That's
genre.
amazing because some people are just so like cut off. Like, oh, I'm not going to listen to country. I'm not going to listen to this. I'm not going to listen to
Right.
that. So
So,
I grew up on it.
that's really cool.
so I have a question, and this is going to be way out there. I always like the bands that are weird that nobody else is gonna really know too much. Who would you say is like an out there band that you guys listen to that I should probably give a listen to?
Porcupine Tree.
Porcupine? I'm gonna have to
Porcupine
check them out.
Tree. Yes.
I listen to Closure in Moscow.
Okay.
I've been sick. Listen to The Fool. It's a fantastic track.
Of Montreal for sure.
Of Montreal.
Yeah.
Of Montreal, I've actually heard of. They came up in my like when you listen to YouTube music, my likes, my familiar likes, they came up.
They're so
Yeah.
good.
They're a good band.
And an Italian metal band, starts with an M. I can't remember, but some of it's Italian, some of it's English. So like a lot of stuff comes up, and it's really cool that YouTube Music does that, like based on your likes.
For sure.
They'll bring up. I'm like, where are the? I'm like, where did this come from? Like, who is this? And I'll have to like go back and listen to like what they decided I liked.
Well, like
And
one of my
sometimes-
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna say one of my favorite bands actually came from a movie that CT showed me. I didn't even know they were a band until he said something.
Who is it?
The Antwoord.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
I love them. And it's like
Måneskin, that's the Italian band. They were on SNL not too long ago, an Italian metal rock band, and doesn't sound like how it's spelled. And now I'm like in love with them. Even their Italian lyrics, it's not English. Like I still like just rock out to them. So it's influences from everywhere.
now, do you guys listen to any like other language bands as well?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Japanese stuff.
And I like a lot of Greek metal.
I listen to Japanese stuff.
Man, so with it being we're now a quarter of the way through 2022. What would you guys say is your ultimate goal as a band for 2022?
Interestingly enough, we get to do, we're going on tour this year. So that, for me.
Nice. Now, is this like a countrywide tour, or is it a regional tour?
Yeah, we're going to be going from Tennessee, from East Tennessee to Washington State. We have a festival we're going to play there in Spokane. And we're going to try to hit some states up on the way. And it turns out that when people give our band a chance, they really fucking like it. So, you know, we're just trying to get it out there for everybody to listen to.
Well, That's the main reason for this show is to like we only bring the best rock, and I know Chris going back a ways, and with Chris involved, I knew it was going to be good. So
I appreciate that.
Do you guys have any favorite places to play or any highlights that you guys like so far? I know we're just now coming out of COVID, and things have been kind of shitty for a while, but as far as favorite memories as a band or favorite venue to play?
Favorite venue is probably a place down here called Capone's. It's like a really nice bar/club.
Yeah, they've been real good to us.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
all of them. They have a lot of cool bands play. I think John 5 was just recently there. Matt Mason will be there.
Nikki Strauss just played there last weekend.
She did, yeah.
Wow.
And we play Memphis Mayfire came through a couple of times.
And we have a show there on Saturday.
Awesome. Now, for any of our viewers who want to grab onto some Elderbug music or check you out on your websites or social media, how do they go about doing so?
Somebody stole Elderbug.
We have a website called somebodystoleelderbug.com, which has links to all of our stuff. Including we have a merch store that you can get to from there. You can find our music for free on YouTube, so you listen to it there. You can also listen to it on
why is it called Someone Stole Elderbug?
Would you believe it's because when I tried to register elderbug.com, somebody had stole it?
No.
So I was like, well, I'm going to be a cheeky fuck, and I named it Somebody Stole Elderbug.com.
Very cool. Very cool. I love
So,
it. What a
going
cool
into the
backstory.
Elderbug, where'd the name come from?
I play video games, and I was playing through a game called Hollow Knight, which was made by these really cool like Australian guys, and it's about bugs. And there was this old bug who was always by himself, sitting next to a bench, and his name was Elderbug. And I was like, man, that'd be a cool name for a band. So I just did that.
That's awesome.
That's probably one of the best explanations of a band title I've ever heard in my
If those Australian guys asked, I just thought of an old bug. It has nothing to do with their game.
That's so creative. That's so awesome.
So is now, unfortunately, due to the way the country is musically, I mean, it's so tough getting into anymore.
Yeah.
We all got to have them day jobs. What do you guys do as far as how do you make a living?
Drew?
How do you make those? How do you make it rain?
Yeah, I manage a hemp. So that's what I do.
You manage?
Yeah, I manage a hemp dispensary.
You manage a what dispensary?
Drew sells weed.
Okay, thank you. That was much clearer.
He manages a dispensary.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I just give him a hard time. I have no idea what this is.
Now, is this like an official dispensary, or is it kind of like a?
It's from right out of his car, by God.
That's where they have the good stuff.
Sorry.
Chris, where do you work? I don't know.
I work for GE Healthcare, dispatching field engineers.
That was
Chris,
not
you
as
were
fun.
said I didn't quite hear that.
I work for GE Healthcare, dispatching field engineers.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I work for Apple.
You work for Apple?
I do. I run quality for Apple and make sure that everything's going the way it should.
So you and me need to talk offline because me and Apple have a really big problem.
Have you tried just performing a system update? I promise it'll probably.
No. All of my accounts got hacked
Oh,
through my
that
Apple
probably
ID.
fixed that, yeah.
And
Have
they
you
won't
turned it
help
off
me.
and turned it back on?
They
Call
will
us at
not help
appsupport.com.
me.
We'll be happy to take your call between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 p.m.
So now I have a question for you guys because I actually
it.
listened to
Love
I guess it's called The Good Bug Is Dead.
Yeah.
I actually listened to that song and I really, really liked it. It actually kind of falls along the lines of the music that I listen to anyway.
Nice.
But I was just wondering what is the story behind that song? Like what made you guys?
So when you say that song, that's the name of the EP.
Yeah, Is That a Gun?
Is That a Gun?
Was the name of the song.
That's a tough one.
Let me think. It's been a long time since we played that one. I want to say lyrically what I was going for with that song was just like a big fuck you. Because I'm an angsty young man.
One time I don't have my fuck you necklace on.
I like me a fuck you necklace.
No, I really do have a fuck you necklace.
I ended up writing that.
My
So
cat
a
bit it
lot of
off.
times we'll sit down to write a song, and instead of being like thinking of some riff, we'll just be like, well, what's something we've not done yet? And we hadn't done anything that was kind of like I want to say like dark poppy sort of. Drew does really awesome shit with his guitar, and then I typically like backbone the song out and like structure it, and then I wrote the words for it, and it just kind of comes together organically, I'd say. I don't know. We just kind of shit it out in like 20 minutes, and then like refine it.
We don't know how.
All right, so I'm gonna.
It's funny. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, I think one of the reasons I liked it is because that's kind of my mentality, even at the age that I am, is like, fuck the rest of y'all, I don't care. There was a point where I had to write. I went back to school, back to college, and I had to write a process analysis paper for my class. And I asked my husband, "What should I write it on?" And CT told me to write it on wiping your ass. He thought he was being a smart aleck. So guess what? I wrote a paper on how to wipe your ass correctly and turned that into my t-shirt. Just because.
Hey, send me that. My copy was absent.
I will send it to you.
Yeah, she holds no bars, and it always comes out
so
making me laugh hysterically. We used to have a snort counter because Panda is the only one that can make me laugh so hard that I actually like snort, and she's the only one that can do it. And we've given up the snort counter because it was just happening too much. And then she started producing more than being on. But Panda is she can turn shit into gold. Let me tell you. But
You love Drew.
That's part of the intro.
yeah,
That's part of the instructions for wiping your ass, turning shit into gold.
yeah, she's a big time.
Well, the name of the paper was called "Defeating the Klingons."
Defeating the Klingons?
Yes, defeating the Klingons.
Bravo. That's very fucking clever.
There's your next song.
That's really good.
So, bye.
But guys, I wanted to ask you because we're quickly running out of time. How do people go about finding websites, social media, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So you can find us on anything under Elderbug TN. I'm pretty sure that's like everything. Like our Instagram. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok against my better judgment. We're on Facebook and Twitter. We have a Spotify and Apple Music. You can get us on YouTube Music. You can call us directly, but you shouldn't. Like you can get a hold of us in almost any platform. And if you're at all confused, just search Elderbug on Facebook. Send us a message. We will send you a link to the music. Do not let technology win. We will help you.
Very cool. A lot of bands don't do that, so that's very nice.
Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Best of luck to everything. Please drop everything on the Rock and Roll Union page, especially new updates about the new album coming out and show dates and those kind of things.
Links to old music so our people can listen to them and get you guys out there too.
Awesome. We will do that. Thank you all so much for having us. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your evening, gents.
You too, y'all.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that was Elderbug. Wanted to give a big shout out to the band that I'm wearing tonight, Ryder from Queens, New York. They are in the process of putting out that new album. Really looking forward to it. Me and James going back quite some time. Hope everything's good with you guys. And Andrew, that's Panda's boy. Panda's a big Ryder fan as well. So don't forget Saturday night, Landis Theater, Ancient Mariners with Ultimate Live Evil, guys.
You gonna be there, Kat?
Say that again.
Panda asked me if I was going to be there, and depending on my tooth, which I don't think you heard in the beginning, I'm gonna try to make it because I don't know if you saw I'm fighting through. This has been a like 3-month process.
Ordeal.
Yeah, it's
And any last words?
Am I doing last words or last word?
Whatever.
Appalachia.
Gonna have to look that one up.
I know what she's talking about.
Kat, any last words?
I have words. Strength and love and peace and power to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Hard to
Guys,
watch.
you
Hard
know
to
me.
see.
I'm just going to tell you to get out, check out some live music, support your neighbor's band because it just might be your next favorite band. And until next time, don't just leave it. Leave it better. Have a good week, guys. See
So
you
I'm
next
just
week.
going to put out there right before he goes off that he says the same thing every week.
But
every week.
It's a good
Every
thing.
week.
It's a good thing. I usually say the same thing because it's been my tooth for the past 3 months. But my heart is going out to what's going on, and so I know you don't like getting into politics, but it's hard to watch. So I just send love to everyone that's hurting right now. Is a more broad statement.
Yep.
All right, guys, rock on. Have a great rest of your week. See you soon.